All right, all right, all right. Mhm. All right. Peace, blessings, enough love. All right. I. Okay, okay, okay. Wonderful. Thank you all very much. Really, really appreciate. Really appreciate. And just want to start to get things rolling. Peace, blessings, and enough love to everyone. Really appreciate, really appreciate. Thank you all for joining Deep Dive, Globally Changing Lives. Thank you for those on YouTube joining us live. And we do hope that this webinar will be another wonderful webinar in your collections of webinars across the globe. We are going to kick off this afternoon, today's program, of course, with our theme song, In It to Win It, by our very own international recording singing artist, and that is Queen Lerato Shadari. So at this time, we will be playing that song, and there will be a video with the song that depicts a few things here in on passive. And so, without any further ado, we will be, of course, looking at AI automation in the background. So, just tune your minds to that type of programming with respective to where the In It, Win It song is concerned. And so just stay tuned as we play the In It to Win It video for your eyes at this time.
Your next stop is on passive.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Lirato Shadari. Really appreciate. Thank you very much, Lirato Shadari. Queen Lirato Shadari. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Really, really appreciate. So, moving right along, we do have the next item on the program, which of course is our mindset. Mindset, very important feature of deep dive mindset. Um, Without the mindset, you have little, or I should say, without good and proper and positive, successful mindset, you will not have a good alignment to your future. That's why people commit suicide because they don't have a good, positive mindset. And so, to point us in that correct direction, this afternoon, today, this evening, this morning, especially for King Coleman, it is none other than our own Queen Pastor Antoinette Coleman, who is going to be deliberating on the mindset. And mindset, as you know, is very, very, very important. There are two aspects of the mindset. 20% of the mindset is actually on the business side. 20%, and a lot of persons flip around this. But really and truly, 20% is business, and physical. And mental aspect of things is 80%. Because listen, even if fire can burn down a building, which is the physical part of the whole development, right? You still have the mind. You still have the mind to do what you did do to get where you are. So hey, just like uh, Thomas Edison, you know, he said that he didn't fail 1,000 times. He just find out that there was 1,000 times that didn't work, and help him to go forward, to not make that mistake that he made when he was doing it that way. He did it a different way and a different way and a different way until he finally got it. And so, for us today, international speaker, and of course, she is an entrepreneur long before on passive, and of course, she is going to speak of 5 steps to writing a successful manuscript. And so we're going to thank you already, Queen Toni Coleman, for gracing us with your presence and for delivering this today's mindset. Over to you, Pastor Toni Coleman.
Dr. Derek, for the introduction. And thank you all for allowing me to once more speak on this wonderful platform and to be before you. Dr. T had council meeting, so she wasn't able to be here. But I'm thankful that I have another opportunity to share what I really love, and that's writing and publishing other people's dreams and experiences and learning from them and being blessed through them and from them. So I'm going to share my screen, and so 5 steps to writing a successful manuscript. And your manuscript can be anything, sci-fi, biography, a training manual, self-help book of some sort. And the first one is to read books in the genre you want to write your manuscript. If you're going to do a self-help book, then read self-help books. You'll see how they're situated. You'll see how the train of thought flows, and believe it or not, you'll learn through reading similar books in the genre that you want to write in. I found that, well, one of the things I did was I used to sit up and relax reading manuals, believe it or not. And when I was in property management, I read manuals on property management, and I wrote one. When I was in computer operations and programming, believe it or not, I would take my manuals home and I would read them of course, learning my trade. But there came a time when the programs, and I was required to write 24 programs, but I had to write manuals for those 24 programs, and they were programs that were purchased by the US government. In fact, they keep track of us. It was the base program that they built upon. So they were starting to keep track of us more efficiently through our Social Security numbers. So read books that are in the genre that you want to write your manuscript. The second is research the elements of your book or manuscript. If it's a training manual, do training for the job or position. If fiction, have more truth than fiction. If nonfiction, be factual. I use the example, The Hunt for Red October by Tom Clancy, because he was originally an accountant. And he wanted to write a book about submarine life. And it just so happened, he had never been in the armed forces, in the Navy, but he had a friend who was previously in the Navy, and his duty was on board a submarine. So he would interview his friend about submarine life. Then he would go to the library and read up on everything dealing with submarine life, the maneuvers, the training, the whole kit and caboodle. And he was so good in writing his manuscript for The Hunt for Red October. It took him 10 years. When he was done with that manuscript, he went to submit it to a publisher, and his writing was so realistic, the publisher sort of got a little antsy and sent it in to a friend in the government. And the person who read the manuscript in the government was afraid that it was so realistic that they wanted to make sure he did not divulge any secrets, so that if anyone in another country read the book, he wouldn't be divulging any military Navy secrets. So the book, it took him 10 years to write it, but it was held up for 3 years because it was investigated. That's how true to life his manuscript seemed to be, how realistic, how factual his manuscript was. And when it was finally released, the publisher still was afraid to put his hands on it. So Tom Clancy had to pay for the publication of his book, $10,000. So he sacrificed $10,000. And the mindset is too that if you have faith in whatever your writings are, then you should be able to invest in yourself, make that sacrifice, and God will bless. And you know the whole story, you know what happened. It became a movie, so it was well worth it. And then he's had other books to follow. And Tom Clancy is known to be very factual about his writings, although they were fiction. And so if you're going to do fiction, if you really want your book or your manuscript to be very successful, then try to be as factual as you can in writing your manuscript. Okay, number 3, polish your ability. When I was into writing, and I had been basically writing since I was around 10 years old and telling stories and all of that. But in the interim, I took every English course I could take. I read a lot growing up. In college, like I said, I took every English class that I could get that was available to me. I read a lot of how to do books. And for example, I subscribed to Writer's Digest, and they had a series on characterization. And when I wrote a manuscript, I submitted it to a panel. They read the manuscript, and their response was that my characters were the most realistic and relatable characters that they had read in a long time. And it came through study. It came through polishing my ability. No one is born with the gift of writing, although they can be good writers, but you always, always will need to polish your gift, no matter how good you think you are. Polish your gift, and you do it by taking classes or courses. I had subscribed to a writing course, and I learned even more. I still have a lot of the materials on character sketches and how to build my characters so that they're believable and the whole kit and caboodle. But I give you a few books that you can grab a hold of if you have a interest in writing. And one is called On Writing Well, and it's by William Zinsser, writing the novel from plot to print is supposed to be that word. So please forgive me for my misspelling. But From Plot to Print by Lawrence Block. He's one of my favorite. I've read practically every book he's put out dealing with writing and characterization and the whole thing. And then subscribe to Writer's Digest. I'm not sure right now if there is a cost, but as far as I know, it's still free. So polish your ability. Learn to write well. And on writing well, I learned to be able to identify clutter and for example, clutter is something like, and we talk it all the time. We talk it all the time. And one example is go and look up under the sink. And how can you look up under something? So up would be a clutter word, and it would read, go look under the sink. Okay, just as an example. And so you'd be surprised. Number 4, Listen to your muse. And I don't know if anyone has heard about the muse, but that's that inner voice that keeps egging you on. And if it's a book idea that you have, then it'll keep egging you on. Write it, write it, write it. And it'll keep giving you parts of that. And for a few years, my muse has been on me about writing a few books that I think would be a blessing that God's put in my heart. And all glory to him. And because he helps me with everything. He's my partner. He's my boss. So if you have that story, if you have that message, if you have that ability that you want to teach, then, and it just keeps you and at you, then it's time to write it. Time to write it. Jot down. Whenever you're urged to write, then write. Don't worry about the order. And that's another thing, that's another story. But don't worry about the order in which you're writing things. Just write it. And later on, whenever God or whomever, you or God is telling you, okay, that's enough, then he'll show you how to put it together, or you'll know how to put it together. And then I used another example, The Green Mile by Stephen King. And I don't know if any of you knew that The Green Mile was written by Stephen King, the king of horror, so to speak. And or even if you've seen the movie, but it's about a man, a black man that was accused of murder, but in actuality, he was trying to save the girls, the sisters that were killed. And another note is that when you are writing your story, never, never, never tell the story until it is completed. Because I promise you, and I've gone through this myself, that when you tell the story and you haven't written it, you will never be able to tell the story that way again. It will always change. It will never be what it starts out to be. Okay? And then number 5 is start with an outline. When you start your book, start with an outline. After you've done 1 through 4, then you start with an outline. First of all, know the theme. What's the message that you want to leave your reader with? Is it a moral? The moral of the story? What is the message? Because if you have a theme, then you'll be able to write that theme. You'll be able to stay on track. You'll be able to go through it and say, okay, here's the first part. Now the second, does it have anything to do with the theme? Does the next chapter have anything to do with the theme? Okay, and so you create your theme, and then the plot. Okay, every story has a plot, and believe it or not, even the manuals. When I was writing manuals, I would write them in such a way for the computer room, what you did first thing in the morning. And it would be so simplified that they could bring someone off the street to do the whole procedure from morning to the close of day for the computer room. We were ordered to write the manuals so that if they had to, and they would never do that, but if they had to, they would write they could bring someone off the street who had absolutely no experience in doing the procedures, maybe some computer experience, I would hope, but they could bring some, or better yet, out of another apartment. Department. There was one year at the time I was a support tech, and so part of my job was a little travel. I would go to different um, locations, and I would train people for the computer um, duty. And sometimes they would have 5 different people to switch up. Certain days, one person would be doing it, another day on another person, and so forth. And so there were 5 people I had to train for the computer room. And I had the manual. So they only knew accounting. They knew how to turn off and on their computers, of course, because everything was keyed in through computer. But they didn't know anything about the computer room. So what I had to do was each person had to go through their manual. And then I stood there and I watched them do step by step by step each job that had to be done. And that's how I was able to test out the manuals to make sure that they could pull anyone from any department to do the job if they had to. And so even in manuals, there's a progression. And in any manual, there's a progression. So in a fictional or nonfiction book, there's a progression. You pull a moral or a message that you want to the person to end with. And in the area of um, manuals, technical manuals, the theme would be to finish the job, to start and finish the job, and there's a progression. And so, as it is in any type of writing, there's a progression. So you have your plot, and you outline the series of events. And the plot, you have a exposition, the revealing, the rising action as they're going through the story, the climax, the calming down, the falling of the action, and then the resolution. We're done. And then, so there's a progression in your manuscript. And then if you're going to do anything that has to do with a story, fiction, nonfiction, then you do character sketches. And character sketches, you build the personality of your characters. And I'll tell you an inside thing in my own writing that I have found to be really great. And you make sure you don't use the person's name. You don't uh, um, make your character look like the person that you're using, but a lot of people base their characters on real people. And it may be a friend that they admire. It may be someone that they know in passing. They base characters on these people. And a lot of times they won't even bother doing a character sketch. But I would suggest to practice your character sketches. You could take a friend or focus on someone, and then you write down how they react to different situations. Mild mannered, smiles all the time, a little critical, and that type of thing. I'll tell you, after I got used to doing character sketches, and I watched Star Trek a lot. And when I was watching The Next Generation, Geordie LaForge, I don't know if anyone knows or has ever seen Star Trek, but The Next Generation. And Geordie LaForge was supposed to have been this very kind engineer. And there was an episode where his character was totally out of character. It was not, he did not have the, whoever did his character sketch, or whoever wrote that particular episode, did not go according to the character sketch for Geordie LaForge. So he was totally not in character. Even if he was supposed to have acted like some other being possessed or whatever, that was not the case in this particular episode. So it showed, when you get used to doing character sketches and you're watching different shows, or you're watching movies and things, watch how the character moves, reacts, and that will help train you in being able to develop your character, and to also show or be able to keep them in character dependent upon the situation and the protagonist or antagonist. And the protagonist is the person around which the story evolves, and the antagonist is the one who tries to mess up everything. Okay. Then you include all elements of life: love, hate, life, death. You try to include all the elements of life in your stories, in your manuscript. Okay. And then incite the five senses. Don't try to tell the story, let the reader live the story. And I gave you an example. The sound of Sally's steps could be heard as she splashed through the puddles building on the sidewalks. And so if you think about it, okay, here's Sally. You hear her steps. Your senses are being activated. So as I'm reading that, you're hearing her steps. The splashes tell you that the sidewalks are wet. The fact that I made the comment, puddles building, it's still raining. So I'm imagining that Sally, and I'm hearing her steps, the splashes. She's walking through puddles. I see the rain in my memory, or in my mind. I'm envisioning all of this. And so when you tell your stories, try to incite the five senses. Let them live the story. Don't tell the story. And last, what I want to leave you with is these steps only include the construction of your manuscript. But remember that marketing is the big winner. A publisher will not waste their time trying to read a bad manuscript that is poorly written. They will push a great manuscript that has a great story to tell and is easy to read. I've been in publishing for more than 25 years, working with other publishers, and then close to 20 years having my own company. And I'll tell you, in working with the other publishers, they were quick to get rid of a manuscript. And you could start out, I would start out reading the manuscript thinking, okay, if I could get through all of this, the misspellings and all of that, this could be a good story. But guess what? We didn't have the time to go through and rewrite almost every line, or call the author and say, what did you mean by this? Who was talking to who? And I have worked with manuals like that or manuscripts like that. And so they're not going to take that time because they don't have a lot of time to do all that. So I encourage you that, and going back through the steps, I encourage you to read books around your genre, because you'll get used to the jargon, you'll get used to remembering certain sentence structures and how things are being explained and all that. Research the elements of your book or manuscript. Okay, make it as believable, factual as you possibly can. Polish your ability. Always be learning. Always improve on what you already know. Even if you're an English buff, continue to improve yourself. Listen to your muse. Write when you have the urge to write. And if you don't get anything, don't worry about it. Just rest. That's the time when your muse is recharging itself. It's thinking through things. And then you'll come back and continue the story as it should be. And then start with an outline and have a theme, a plot. Do your character sketches. Learn how to do character sketches. Include all the elements of life. Incite the five senses. You know, don't tell the story, let the reader live the story. And do a really great job in making your story or your manuscript easy to read. And that is it. That's all that I have for you. I hope it helped and it was encouraging you all. And I've heard someone that there are 3 things that you should always attempt to do in life or should do in life. And one of those things is to write a book. And we all have fantastic stories that can help and encourage others to go forth and to press on in their lives. So thank you all for your time.
All right, all right, all right. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Queen Pastor Coleman. Really appreciate it. Oh my goodness. All right. Thank you very much. That was awesome. 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 And you know, if you if you ever think of writing a book, dear lady, you know, right here in our midst as a big time international world entrepreneur, editor. All right. And so write a book, right? Just write it. That's all. Just write it. All right. And GPT will help you with the spelling and will help you with the grammars and so on. So by the time it reach to Queen Pastor Coleman, everything is in tip top shape. Uh, so just write it. Just write it. Every person should just write a book, especially First Lady Queen DrBenny. Just write a book. Write a book, First Lady Queen DrBenny. You are the first person to write a book before this year finish. I'm putting that on you. And then the second book I need is from Queen Jacqueline Warner. Queen Jacqueline, I know you're going to do a book on health. So start it from now. Come on, start the book from now, man. Queen Jacqueline Warner, do a book on health. And Queen First Lady DrBenny, do a book on cybersecurity. Come on, it's a book. You have all the information. You know, you did 1 year, over a year presentation. So write a book now, man. Definitely. And get some publishing, and you might go to tell you might start to have to what you call it? Book signing. You might have to book tour. Right. That's what I want. Book tour. You to tell. You have to do a book tour and book signing and all of that. Oh my goodness. You see a name and see a picture on billboard. The latest book by First Lady Queen Toni. Oh my goodness. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. Queen Lillian, you are the third person next that need to write a book. Queen Lily Lane, write a book, man, write a book. Come on, roll the show. Queen Dr. Doris, write a book, man. Queen Rosalind, Queen Joan, everybody need to write a book. Everybody, just write a book, man. King Cotton, all right, you want to come and do a presentation, write a book, Everyone write a book. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Queen Pastor Toni. Really appreciate that one. Really, I didn't know it sound easy. Just right. Yes, just right. Just right. All right. I turn it over to because I know Queen First Lady DrBenny going to comment on that one.
All right. Thank you so much, Queen Pastor Antoinette. Before I proceed, I just want to say happy Tuesday to all my queens and kings around the globe. It is really so wonderful to see many, many of familiar faces joining us this evening, this morning, or afternoon. Now, it all depends upon your location. Thank you all for taking your time to be here. I want to thank God for bringing all of us here. Seriously, because of the snow out there at the moment. Hopefully, those who are driving, they should drive safely to their location. Queen Antoinette, this thing about writing, I have a lot of story, but if I don't want to write, can someone write it for me? And I pay that individual.
Yes. Yes, I have two clients now, and they want ghostwriting. And so they tell the story and I write it for them, or they record it on tape. You can record it, you can tell your story on tape and just submit it. I've done a few of those. And you just submit it and we do chapter by chapter.
I like what you said from the beginning. I mean, you said that whoever is writing a story, we shouldn't write the name of that particular individual. I mean, if I want to write a story about somebody who pissed me off, I should not I should not write the name of that particular individual who has really, really hurt my feelings, correct?
Yes.
For real. Because for that one, I have a lot.
Yeah.
When it comes to pissing me off, I have a lot of story. I'm not lying. From childhood up to now, I am serious. If by writing that story, then maybe somebody will try to find out how am I succeeding? How am I coping with what transpire in my life? You understand?
Yes.
And then I would try to tell people that, hey, do not worry for what is going on, what that particular individual is pissing you off, does not want you to progress in life, but you have to push yourself. You have to dedicate and say, hey, this is what I want to do. I don't care what you say about me. You see what I mean? And then you notice how you have friends out there who they smile with you, right? And then at the back, they are hurting you so much. You cannot believe it. It makes you to say, hey, I don't think I should ever have a friend in my life. But you do have good friends. We do have good friends and we have bad friends. You cannot really trust who is real. Sometimes some people say, I can't even trust my mother, my own mother. I can't even trust my father. That is the fact. I'm saying that some people will say that. But what I have seen watching some type of scripts, right? Like Nigerian movies, when you go, even though they say, sometimes they say you should not watch like TikTok with the Nigerian movies. I'm not going to lie to you. When you watch those scripts, you learn a lot. It makes you not to even ever want to have a friend. Be careful because the person can be smiling in front of you. Okay, the person will prepare food, right? And because you trust that individual so much, turn around, as you're going to the restroom, the person is putting something into your food, inside your food. Then when you come, the food is so good. You see, just because that person wants you to leave the wall. You understand? Oh, yes. Manuscript. I know you keep talking about a manuscript. So I just tried to find out, like, what is the definition of this, right? So manuscript writing refers to the author's original text before it undergoes the process of publication. It is
Absolutely.
the raw expression of an author's thought. So you are the thoughts, right? And the creativity.
Yes.
Okay.
I- yes. Yes. I'm working on a manuscript now.
Oh, Jesus.
And so that's her manuscript.
Ah,
Before I put it into book form. So all it is just writing down or typing what you want to say, what your book, and she even has her own pictures
oh,
that she's drawn.
I see.
So I have a graphic artist that I use, and I get pricing and get the okay from her if she wants to pay that. So it's step by step by step. But I'll tell you, the most wonderful thing you can do is to share a story, how you survived, because even though these people in our lives have hurt us, and I could tell you some stories,
Oh, me too.
but
I
when
have
you look at
millions.
who you are now,
Yeah.
who you are now
Hmm.
is part of what you had gone through and
That's true.
survived with
Yes.
these people. And so I heard someone say, you have people who come into your life to teach you a lesson. You have people who come into your life to bless you,
Okay.
to encourage you, to build you up. I'll tell you, going through my life, my family wasn't there to encourage me, but I had teachers,
Mhm.
I had friends of the family. They were able to take a look at this problem child and steer my energies in the right direction and make me see how I can change, how I can be a benefit. And later it sunk in. It sunk in. And I do plan to tell my stories. And, when I have adventures, I have the adventures. When we go through our hard places, and the scripture says that all things work together for our good. And there's another scripture I connect with that to Romans 8:28, and it's James 1, and he says, knowing this, that the trying of our patience, or the trying of our faith worketh patience, but have patience, but let patience have its perfect work in us. And patient means endurance without complaint. So you go through enough to the point where I'm not even going to complain about it anymore. I'm just going to pray about it and just endure. Let God do whatever type of work he's trying to do in me. And so those are stories. I just shared a story. And if it were in a book and it ends up on the other side of the world and someone reads it that's going through a very hard time, then it builds that faith in them. We each have a story to tell of survival, of encouragement. I look at stuff, and I'll keep it short. When I look at movies, I look at how the writer wrote that movie, wrote that story. What is the writer trying to tell me in that story? How can it affect my life? And there was one lady who did poetry, and that was a client of mine. And I was just starting out working with a publisher, and this woman was dying of cancer. And she wanted her last legacy to be a book about survival, about love, forgiveness, because she had gone through so much in her life. And I'll tell you, I was chosen to do her book on poetry because I was the only one who knew how to meter poetry. And so I had a lot of experience in that. And so a lot of times I would have to call her on the phone, or sometimes go by her house, and we go through things, go through her poetry. And long story short, all the while that I went through those 200 poems of poetry, it ministered so deeply in my life. And I was going through some hard times at that time. And I will never forget her poems because they touched my life. I would cry. I would call her up and I would thank her for a certain poem. And she was an older woman. And my fondest memory of her was going over to her house, and we were metering one of her poems. And she put her arm around me, offered me some tea, put her arm around me, and prayed with me and encouraged me and gave me a word. And not too long after we published her book, she had went to glory. She had passed on. And she did not. Her book would have been a bestseller in poetry if she wanted it out there. And all she wanted was enough copies for her family. And that was it. We did not have permission to publish that book, and neither did her family. So that book stayed within her family. But and that's just a prime example. Look inside your life. And everyone has a story to tell that can help someone, encourage someone. And God made it that way. He made it that way. So from everything that you may have gone through, the things that when people launch out at you, they're launching out at something that you have that they wish they had. And sometimes it's testing ground to see if you're who you really are. And if you say that you're a born again believer, you have the love of God. And so that love will be tested. And I'll tell you, I'm just going to end it there, but I could tell you some stories where God had me flabbergasted just by trying to obey his word when he says being a living sacrifice and showing forth his love unconditionally. I could tell you some stories because he's left me with my mouth open and feeling like an idiot. And I'm like, I started out to annoy a person, and God used it to bring them into him through love. And in short, the person was racist, didn't like black.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and spoke to him every day just to annoy him.
Mm-hmm.
And God used it because he realized black people weren't what he thought they were, unbeknown to me. And so he ended up coming to my desk and he says, Toni, he even knew my name. Toni, I hadn't seen you in a week. You always spoke to me. You were the only one that would speak to me. And I was worried about you. And I'm sitting there with my mouth open. And God wanted me to show him love in spite of himself.
Okay.
And so we never know what people are going through. We never know. And on this platform, I will say that God is going to expose us to a lot of people, a lot of situations. They're going to be breaking situations because of what I'm passive is all about. We're going to run into situations where we may not even want to help, but God may want us to help for whatever reason, you know. So tell the story.
Oh man. I don't want to waste too much time, but I appreciate this. I really appreciate you because it's like opening my mind for what is in my heart, for what I have gone through, especially this PhD business is the hardest thing in the universe. People think that is very easy. Some people claim that it's 1 year that you can take to do a PhD. That is a lie. A real PhD is not a 1 year thing. Seriously. But I will keep it this way for now. Queen Jacqueline Warner. Sorry. I'm calling her because I know she'll be next to talk, right?
Good evening to everyone. Thank you so much, Queen DrBenny, for that question and sharing your heart. Like our Queen Dr. Toni said, everybody has a story. Thank you so much, Dr. Derek, for allowing me to speak on this platform. And thank you also to the brand ambassadors / affiliates. And thank you most of all, Queen Dr. Toni. That was an amazing presentation. And thank you for giving us the outline on how to start our own manuscript when we wish to, whenever we, like you said, whenever God give us that nudge or that inner voice, let us know. I can say for myself, the things that I went through in my life, I thought I was like a mess too. But then God spoke to me, or the Holy Spirit spoke to me and said, you know what, Jacqueline? Those are not for you. That's for someone else. And each and every one of us has a story to tell. It doesn't matter, small or big, rich or poor. We all have a story to tell. And I'm glad that Queen Dr. Toni brought us because it will inspire us, for us who have it on our heart for quite some time, to really put the pen to the paper and start just writing whatever comes to our heart or our mind and just jot it down. If that's what, because all of us have a story. no matter what. And like Queen Dr. Toni said, you could even record it and have someone else, like when DrBenny asked that question, that's so amazing, because some of us might not want to go through the all of the outline and studying the characters and all that. And so there's always a way out. So thank you so much, Dr. Toni. We appreciate you so much for bringing this to us. And I think, it was a great topic, and you left us with something good in our hearts to do something just like that lady you explained. I know you was very emotional about it. Um, but that was lovely. Even her in her dying state wanted to write a book. Imagine some of us who is not even in that stage. We have all the opportunity now to tell our story, because the grave, like they said, is the richest place on the planet, because we don't get to do what we have to do, and the grave doesn't need it, and God sure doesn't need it. But the people that here today need to hear that motivation. Or, oh yes, DrBenny, she had to go through so much with her PhD, but these are the things that you can do to be excellent or to be courageous. So thanks again. Thanks again so much, Queen Dr. Antoinette. We appreciate you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
You're welcome too.
Thank you.
No, Dr. Derek, go ahead. Proceed, Dr. Derek.
All right, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much, Queen Pastor Coleman. Really appreciate awesome presentation. All right, moving right along. The very next presentation we have actually is zooming in on a deep dive in cybersecurity, of course, and is none other than our PhD First Lady, Queen DrBenny, that is going to give you a little excerpt of her book that will coming out this year. And, she'll be working on it. So stay tuned for that book that will be published this year. I'm speaking it into existence. All right, wonderful. And so, as you know, she is definitely an entrepreneur long before um, on passive, and definitely she is um, a international speaker, and definitely she has been a wonderful friend, a wonderful person, a person who cares for others, and she has her PhD in cybersecurity, working at that assiduously at this time. And so therefore, what she's presenting is not something that is cocked up out of her imagination, but is facts. So please listen for what she's going to present to us, and it has to do with cyber security. Stay protected in 2025. Over to you, firstly, Queen Dr. Benny.
We're talking about cybersecurity. Now, today, the topic is going to be about cyber crime. Cyber crime. A lot of things are happening out there at the moment. So why is cyber crime still growing? And how are criminals succeeding? There are a lot of bad things happening. So cybercrime is continuously rising due to what the technological advancement, increasing the digital dependency, and evolving what the criminals' tactics. They do have their own tactics, right? What to do, how they can do it in order to hurt us. Hackers and cyber criminals organization, they will exploit vulnerabilities when I talk about the vulnerability, it's like a weakness, right? Vulnerability is weakness in the systems, like with your computer, right? Or your phone. There's always a weakness of what is happening, not only within the system, but as well as within us, businesses and individuals. So the reasons for the cyber growth, which it increased by the digital resilience, more people and more businesses, they operate online, creating what? When they operate, they create more target, right? A lot of our brand ambassadors, or because of everything that is happening online, people they don't want to go to the market. They just want to go online and buy and buy and buy. When you go and buy things, what do? You expose your credit card. The hoopers, they know what is going on in life. So please just give me a minute and let me share you my screen when it comes to this cyber criminals. One thing is about like dark web, right? The cyber criminals, they would trade stolen data to exploit what? Anonymities. Give me a minute, please. I think it's this one. Share. Perfect. Mm. All right. Cybercrime has been on the rise for years as people increasingly conduct businesses and live their lives online. More and more criminals are leveraging the internet to steal. What are they stealing? They just want to steal your information to go and hurt you. So with advancement in cybersecurity, the development of the best practice, security awareness program, greater regulations and cooperation between businesses and government to tackle the issue, you might expect cyber criminals to be feeling the pressure, right? So, however, despite the growing awareness of the threat of cybercrime, organizations and individuals continue to lose ever great sum. Now, the Internet Crime Complaint Center, led by the FBI, received 351,936 complaints in 2018, right? With losses in excess of 2.7 billion, the highest annual total yet recorded. Cybercrime is the use of computer as an instrument to further illegal ends, such as committing fraud, trafficking in a child pornography and intellectual property, stealing identities, or violating privacy. Cybercrime, especially through the internet, has grown in importance as the computer has become what? Computer has become a central to commerce, the entertainment and government. So why is it still growing? The first thing is that it's growing because it's targeting. Most of the time they target but older individuals, right? They will fool you and extort you for money. So while many of us focus on software and security tools to keep malware out, the real weakest link is often the least obvious, bypassed by information technology members who believe technology alone is the answer. The majority of successful cyber attacks start with what? Person intentional or unintentional fold into what? Clicking somewhere they shouldn't. And you guys notice I've always inform you guys about the phishing, that somebody will send an email lying to you that, oh, DrBenny said you should do this. Oh, click this attachment and you see something that will make you happy. So a lot of people, especially when it comes to money, right? You will want to click that attachment, which is not good. Please do not click any attachment, any email that has been sent to you, and they lied that, let's say, DrBenny has done that. Please call DrBenny before clicking any attachment. So cyber criminals are adept at taking advantages of the social engineering and successful phishing attacks that can serve as models for varieties of similar scams. So enticing to volunteers information from the potential to dupe what? Dupe people, especially when the scammers, they put considerable effort into what? Making the message, the website, it directs you to look legitimate, right? They will do whatever it takes, making those websites to make you believe that it's real. Meanwhile, it's not. Even the smartest people, when busy and distracted, may easily click on that link embedded into a possible looking message and unwittingly download the malware. So the next thing is by doing their homework. Now, as phishing attacks grow ever more sophisticated, criminals have grown more discerning about what? Their potential victims. Now, they have reached the target, specific executives, to gain access to their wider network. They may collect what? They may collect and collect publicly available data from social media to lean their approach on air of authenticity. Now, while well-researched attacks, spear phishing attacks, they are growing more and more common. The sad truth is that even transparent attacks have a success rate, which bring us what? To the next point, right? So there are billions of people online. Seriously? Yes. Even younger children. Mm? And they can expose to an incredible wide array of scams. Now, while a verge email with a CV in it or request to review an attached invoice may appear clumsy. Now, if it lands into your inbox at the right time, there is a real risk you will click before you think. Now, emails and instant messages are cheap and easy to send in bulk. If criminals send thousands, they only need a very small percentage of victims to bite to make the exercise worthwhile. Scam evolving. Now, while many online scams have originated out of the older scheme, scammers are always finding new ways to play them out. Scammers love to pose as legitimate organizations like banks, hoping to trick you into handing over details. But we have become accustomed to dealing with the organization online. The potential for trickery has grown exponentially. Now, how creative have bad actors grown in boldness and innovation? With the popularity of touchscreen, a lot of us now, there are a lot of touchscreens out there, right? When you buy a computer. Now, our own team of cybersecurity experts has even seen the instance of what appears like legit human hair, human follicles or flares, dust particles as a screen. Now it gives what? A sweep away malware in order for you to download, right? That is one of the problems that we are facing. Criminals have had a lot of success voicing as official government agencies or throwing up fake warnings that indicate you have what? A virus. Guess what? It happens to me. Yes. On your system, and it needs you to download and install a specific program to get rid of it. Drive-by download delivering what? A malware that can be triggered simply by visiting the wrong web page. That's what is happening to some of us, and may occur in what? The background without any notification. Criminals, they sell what? Stolen information. Now, if a scam is successful, it will be copied quickly. Criminals don't just share knowledge, they sell the malware kits. So sometimes even with their own tech support, some cyber criminals insulate themselves by what? Selling crime kits or buckling data deals, leaving more desperate criminals to take a bigger risk. That is what is happening out there. Patience and persistent pay off. There's a lot of tendency to assume cyber criminals are impatient and lazy, but many have learned that they can harvest more by being patient. Many breaches take weeks to be discovered, and cyber criminals use that time to spread malware and they steal more and more much data as possible without raising suspicions. Now, it is not unusual for breaches to hibernate and go unnoticed for months. A persistent criminal may start with some apparently innocuous information they have gathered from social network and use that to leverage more sensitive credentials. So people had bad habit reusing. Remember, now listen to this. People have a bad habit of reusing the same password in multiple places. Now, there is also a possibility of using a social media account to pose as someone that trick colleagues, family, and friends in sending more sensitive data or even cash, right? This thing about reusing password, that is why in certain organization, instead of you changing your password every 90 days, there are certain organizations that they expect you to change it every 60 days. Now, they expect that when you're changing it, you have to utilize those numbers, names, and special characters. So with those special characters, you just have to, every 2 months or 3 months, you need to change special characters. We do have about more than 11 special characters. One of those characters will be like a dollar sign. That is a special character. So if you use a dollar sign these 2 months, then the next 4 months, you should use like the ampersand, right? So that the cyber criminal will not even know. Or you can now put those special characters now in between the numbers. If you were putting the special character at the back, at the ending of, let me say, 3, ampersand, 1, 2, 3, ampersand, right? So next time now, even if you want to put the same ampersand, now you can put the ampersand in the middle. 1, the ampersand, then 2, dollar sign. So those cyber criminals will not know. Now, law enforcement is handicapped by the fact that cyber criminals can operate from anywhere, seriously, anywhere with the internet access. It doesn't matter your country. Scammers working in these countries, in countries with limited digital crime laws or just lax enforcement standard, can even operate with impunity. Now, if there is little risk of being punished for online fraud, it bounds to attract those criminals. So, in conclusion, cyber criminals are still growing. Criminals succeed by targeting people and the lure of what? Easy money drive them to launch attacks. It increases the awareness. It also improves what? Laws and the use of biometrics that can help mitigate the effect of cybercrime. Cyber criminals or cybercrime is becoming harder to stop. As new technologies emerges, its impact, the widespread and overwhelming financially. Now it's very important now to slow its progress. Through increase of awareness, it improves laws with what target cybercrime and by utilizing biometrics, which greatly enhance the security. The effect of cybercrime will be mitigated. Now, as explored before, cyber criminals will only continue to find motivation in cybercrimes when they are faced with such low risk. So this is where I got my information from. Thank you all for listening. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Brother Carlton. I appreciate you all. All right, Queen Antoinette, proceed, please.
Excellent presentation. And you are so right, because a few times when I was in, doing computer operations and programming and things, I had a friend who had a computer, and I knew how to put in memory boards and stuff like that. So she had purchased, a lot of equipment for her Dell computer because someone had put some type of virus in her computer, and she was losing information and all sorts of crazy stuff was happening. So we had tried everything, and we ended up replacing a lot of her memory boards and things of that sort. So and I asked myself, for what reason would they even bother? Yeah, money, but you know, people, I would feel useless if I had to steal from someone else. I would feel useless, but that's me. And I pray that new software comes up so that not only does it shut them down, but it catches them too. So, yeah, but great presentation. And it just made me think about all the situations that I was involved in, and others had gone through all of this cyber crime, and this particular type of subject, how they plant things, you know. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Queen Antoinette, Pastor Antoinette. I appreciate you. Cybercrime, they just want to hurt people. That's it. They want to steal your identity and hurt you, destroy you. Queen Jacqueline Warner.
Amazing, 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 Queen Dr. Benny. You keep us. You're here to keep us safe. You're here to help us to protect ourselves. You're here to educate us and bring the information firsthand to our very little ears. Thank you so much for the great job that you do all the time. We appreciate you so much. Yes, the topic, why is cybercrime still growing? Because it's billions of people that can be robbed. Why not? It's a great profession, isn't it? But you know what? That's why Dr. Benny is here Queen Dr. Benny is here to let us know that cyber crime is still here. It didn't go anywhere. I know of people who just live off of other people's credit cards, renting big places, driving a new car, new model cars, giving their children, making their children think it's okay to live this lavish life off of someone else's money. And Dr. Benny is right. They target their specific customers. You know, just like we have to target our tribe in on passive, you know, well, they target specific people with lots of money who's not paying attention because they have so much. But don't think they're not checking out the little people, you know, because when they get caught up with the big people, they're going to go to the little people. And we have too little to lose. We got too little to lose because you have to go to an attorney, you have to go find funds for that. You got to you don't even get back your own identity anymore. They just wipe you right off the planet. And now you have to, like, you got to be rebirthed. And I'm so glad Dr. Benny is bringing these things to our attention, because I know many of us on the call have experienced some part of cybercrime. By clicking, like she said, I remember clicking on one thing thinking I was into that only because they said, oh, I think it was Best Buy had a computer or whatever going on. So I clicked on that. But that was garbage. But not only was it garbage, it landed me into something else that I was totally unaware. And thank God that my bank was keeping track of all this stuff, that they brought it to my attention. And they was about to close my card down. And I was overseas, make it so bad. I was out, you know, I was in the United States. And I was like, oh my God, if they shut my car down, I won't be able. So now I had to go and research to find out where the problem was, where it was coming from, where it stemmed from. And then I called and I spoke. They told me this, call over here, call over there. And I did all that. And then I was able to call my bank back and said, yes, I was aware. I had to tell them, yes, I was aware of it, just so my card won't close down. But that's what can happen. They could cause inconveniences to you. And then you will have to decide, hey, what I'm going to do at this point? What, you know, what do I do? And you got to think quick. So let's think quick now and put these things that we need to put in order. Dr. Derek told us from the beginning how to clean our cache and how to do all these things to keep, you know, and thank God for your banks. I mean, my bank calls me when I'm trying to make a transaction. Miss Warner, are you trying it? There's like Dr. Benny talked about the biometrics. They might seem like, oh, that's another step, but it's another step of protection. I love it. Sometimes you could even make up phrases. Write your stuff down in a little thing. Don't save it on the computer, because you know what? It's going to keep your brain working. We are thrown up with the convenience that we have. We are losing. We're not gaining. We're not remembering anything anymore. We're like, save that for me, save this for me, save. What are you saving for yourself? So we need to take control and write the important information down. Share it with a family member that you trust. You could be your child. I would trust my children more than anyone else first, you know, and share that information with them. And do not save the stuff on the computer. You got your credit cards on the computer. You could go into the system and erase it if you want. The company that you ordering from should say where your information is encrypted, so that way you know you are safe using that platform. We really got to be careful. Like when we get into these apples, let me tell you, they will know you making money before you make the money. They will have their eyes on you, on us. So don't take it for granted. Oh, I ain't got nothing yet. Don't think they want. Let me tell you, when you get a traffic ticket, don't they know to call you? You want to know where all these people? How do they know about me? You know, the cell phone is a tracker up by itself. They know everything. Nothing is private anymore. More reason for us to secure ourselves. So, Dr. Benny, we really appreciate you. And we thank you for taking the time. I know sometimes you feel like, well, nobody's hearing, but it's just like children. You think they're not hearing, but they're hearing. Okay, so don't think that we're not hearing you. We're hearing you. Okay, so we thank you so much for those 7 areas of cybercrime that you have spoke to each and every one of us. We appreciate you so much. We love you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, my
Madam, I
dear.
appreciate you. I will come back to you. Proceed to Queen Lily Lane.
Thank you, Dr. Benny.
Yes, please.
And good evening to everyone.
Good evening.
Dr. Bennett, I just want you to know that when what you share with us, I always go out and share with someone else. Sometimes it's family, sometimes it's not family. And just today, with me sharing some information that you have shared with us, why I was late getting on the call is because one of my sisters, as I was telling her some of the things that you've been teaching us, she said, well, there is a young lady here that's in jail now because of getting involved with scams. So I said, what are you talking about? So she went on to tell me, and I said, well, does she have any brothers or sisters or whatever? So they gave me the brother's telephone number, and I called him to reach out. This is what happened. She's 60 years old, and she has been scammed going on 10 years. And the last scam that they used on her just recently, because she's in jail now, 60 years old, she's in jail. The last scam that they used on her is they stole somebody's check. They got somebody's check. So what they did is they went and changed the name on the check. They had new checks printed. Instead of printing the owner's name on the check, they printed this girl's name on the check. So the scam is telling her, like, you know, we want to give you these checks. So all you do is you go cash the check or go to the bank and draw money from the bank, and you send us some of the money and you keep some of the money. And she's been doing this. So she's on 2 bonds. First bond is $13,000, and the next one is $40,000 bond. And that was why I was late getting on the call, because now I'm trying to help find a way that we can get her out of jail and get her on a bond and try to find. So I've been asking a lot of questions. Have they appointed an attorney for her and all these things? And they have, but these appointed attorneys, you know, I guess they are right, but you don't know what side they own. You know what side they own. So, and I've been getting several calls since I've been on the call here saying, call me when your call is over, because we're glad you reached out to us. We want to share some things with you, and maybe we can start some kind of GoFundMe to get this $4,000 and $1,300 to get her at least out of jail until time for the hearing. But had I not been sharing what you have been sharing with us, I never would have found that out. And I just do want you to know that I may not say a whole lot on your calls, but I do go out and I do share with others. Because if your information just stopped with us, then I don't think we're covering what we need to cover. When we learn it, we need to go and share it with somebody else. And that's what I have been doing ever since. With all of the information that I gather here, I go out and I share it with others. And I just want you to know that we thank you so much. for taking the time to help us, because now I'm able to say, with listening to you, I'm able to offer some information. You need to do this, you need to do this, don't do this, don't do that. And I just want to share that with you tonight to let you know how I've been handling your information. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your thank you. You're making me to blush. Really. The reason I'm saying this is because I have some of our brand ambassadors who say, why are you teaching? Why are you presenting security? Stop! Don't do it. So it is now that I understand that that particular individual do not want, let me say, Mr. Ash Mofarel, to know that, hey, I know a little bit about cybersecurity, or I just go and do our research, just like when a student go to school, the instructor will give you an assignment, right, for you to do your research, and you go online to do that, right? I have noticed that cyber security is very important. With this cybercrime that Queen Lillian, you talked about that checks. The reason I'm smiling is because it happens to me. That is why banks supposed to know what is going on. Why? Immediately the check was given to me. I went straight to Bank of America to cash it. Guess what? They blocked everything. So if banks in this country notice that, oh, they have given me 10,000 or 20,000 to cash, in which it has never happened before, I expect those banks to stop it immediately. They should be reasonable like Bank of America. I am not lying. What you're saying is what has happened. Hey, God. I'm happy that you guys are really putting it here and you are sharing it to a lot of people. It is unfortunate that we have only 21 out of 1 point something million brand ambassadors for them to listen. Remember that we do have 8.2 plus billion humans on earth. If only these 20 can understand and then share it to others, they will learn from it. And I believe that your friend or that individual, hopefully she has learned from her lesson that any check that is being given to you to cash, say, hey, why don't you cash this? So the best thing is to say, you know how sometimes some of these criminals out there, they will send you that check, or they will say you have won a certain amount, right? And you are excited. Now, well, I used to be excited too, but now you want to find out, how did you win it? How did you win the lottery, right? So now, even though they say you won the lottery 25 million, and they expect you to at least bring $2,000 in order to get the 25. So, because I am learning, so what I tell them that, why don't you remove the 2,000 from that 25 million and then you give me the rest? So when I say that, they get angry. So we are all learning from our mistakes. Cyber criminals, seriously, they are out there. Now, I know Queen JW, yes, we talk about the biometrics. It refers to a measurement and a statistical analysis, right, of people unique, the physical and the behavioral characteristics, which is primarily used for what? Identification, that the biometrics, you identify. Then we talk about the access control, as well as what? Identifying the individuals in groups that they are under surveillance. That is the biometrics. Thank you all. I really appreciate you. Queen Lillian, Queen JW, Queen Antoinette, thank you. Thank you so much. So let me just read something from Queen Nancy. Yes, Queen. So Queen Nancy says, awesome, Queen Antoinette. Thank you so much for the steps, because I have been trying to write my book. Did you guys hear that? Queen Nancy says, She has been trying to write her book for 3 years now, but she does not know how to put it in chapters. With your help today, Queen Pastor Antoinette, you gave me a great idea, but I think I will still need your help. But that was a great presentation that will help so many people. Queen Nancy said, thank you so much, Queen Pastor Antoinette. Again, she says, very true, Queen Pastor Antoinette. When people hate you, it's because you have something that they don't have. Oh, I love this. Do you know how many people hate me, Queen Antoinette? In my own household, I have like 5 out of 30 that hate my guts. Within unpassive, I have 100. You don't, I know them all. I know. Hold on, let me continue to read what Queen Nancy says. This is so good. Hold on. When people hate you, it's because you have something that they don't have. That's why we have to forgive always. Okay, yes, Queen, I'm trying to forgive. All right. Try to offer you help to these people. Sometimes they really can use a little help, and you will be surprised that these people can change. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Queen Nancy. You're making Queen Pastor Antoinette to blush, but at least she knows what she's talking about. Then she said, Dr. Benny, yes, 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 we have to be careful with whom we trust. But the Bible says, even they don't like you, but if they need help, we have to help them, but with precaution. Yes. Thank you so much, Queen Nancy. I have forgiven those who trespass against me. And every day I pray, seriously, Queen JW, every day I pray. I say, God should forgive my enemies. I have a lot of them. It's not only 5 now in my household, it's 10 or more. I am serious. Like you said, if we were to write that book, I would just tell you all their names who hate my guts. But guess what? One of them, there's one that I said, nobody hurt Benny and go free. So one day that particular individual said, you say nobody hurt you and go free? I said, you're damn right. Nobody hurt me. You understand, Queen? I'm serious. But yes, I pray that God should forgive those people. But I will not forget for what they did, because see, when people come behind you, they smile, right? You don't know what is in their heart. I am really afraid of humans. People, I'm serious, Queen Pastor Antoinette. I am. They smile, but behind your back, they hate you so much. But just like Queen Nancy said, do not worry. Despite the fact that they hate you, is because there is something that you have that they don't have. Okay, Queen Nancy, I think I'll go home and sleep well tonight. I've always been worried for people hating my guts. Oh. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. I really do. Queen Dr. Doris said, thank you, Queen Toni. Love you, all queens and kings, within this our amazing deep dive. Thank you. Oh, Queen Lillian, you have something? I saw your hand raised again. Okay, let me take it down, lower it. All right, no problem. Thank you. Oof, this. Thank you, Queen Antoinette, for this your manuscript, whatever. Look, I did not know. I didn't know. See, do you guys notice that it is really good for us to attend webinars, even for 5 minutes? because within that 5 minutes, you learn something. Just attend for 5 minutes, even you don't want to talk. Just come and listen, because things are happening. Like this thing about writing checks, fooling you, putting somebody's name, and then you have to cash it. So it's making you now that when you notice, if you receive a mail, right? Somebody say, oh, you won a certain amount of money. Do not be excited. I used to be, because I said, I was excited because I owe a lot of money to people. So I'm thinking that if I receive a paycheck, a check, then I was so foolish, right? I went to the bank. And like I said, Bank of America, thank you all. I just pray that all the banks should notice. Because if I bring you a check of 10,000, in which I have never brought that type of a check before, so why should you cash it? Let me say, if I take you to the bank, in which it has never happened before, I think the bank should just ask me certain question. How? Where did you get it? Are you working? Even if you're working, the paycheck goes straight directly to your bank, right? And even you take the check to the bank and they expect you to cash it. You don't, the bank will not be stupid to just give you all the money at once. The bank will, wait, I have, which one? I have FTC Bank. What they'll do is that they'll give me like $100 first, right? And they want to wait to make sure that the check is ready for me. They're not going to give it to you immediately. So I'm so proud of some of the banks that they are very smart, but not all banks are smarter. I just want to thank you all for listening, and thank you for this manuscript. So I believe at this moment, I'm going to ask Queen Pastor Antoinette to give us your closing remarks.
Well, I want to encourage everyone that once again, we all have a story to tell, and your story may just as well change a life. Grant encouragement to someone who really needs to receive that encouragement. Offer a new way of doing things. Teach, instruct, and inform. So your story is very important. Your knowledge is very important. And each of us have unique stories that can benefit. So I encourage you to write and get out the word.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I am going to give my own closing remarks. Like, how are criminals succeeding, right? How? There are a lot of reasons that cyber criminals are really succeeding in life. Through phishing attacks, they will trick users like you and I to click malicious link or revealing what? In order for you to reveal your credentials. Then we talk about like social engineering, which they will manipulate individuals into sharing their confidential information, exploiting a weak password, brute force attack, will crack easily guessable password, because the cyber criminals, they know Well, I'm glad that you guys are dedicated. The thing just cut off, just like that.
Yeah, I was wondering what happened.
Thank God that we did. Hopefully, he recorded it, and because that particular topic, manuscript, was really important.
Mhm.
And so Queen Jacqueline Warner is coming. Dr. P is here. Either Dr. J or Dr. P.
We miss your closing, Dr. Bennett.
Yeah, man, I was just trying to give my closing remarks, and then the thing went off. I hope he recorded this, because I really want to share it out. I want to share this. And you guys, commenting, I just wanted people to know, those people who said I should not do anything, that I should not be presenting about cybersecurity. I want to really send this out, for you guys telling me that, oh, it's really good that I'm really teaching this or presenting this. It's making people to learn from it. I like that. I hope Dr. Derek has that information. Vraiment. Oh, Queen Nadine. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you all for coming back. King Herod, thank you for coming. You know that it's going to be your turn to preach the word. Prayers is very important. Oh, welcome back, Queen Dr. Nadu, Queen Janet, King Carlton, King Dr. Derek, welcome. Queen Lilyland, welcome back. Well, I believe I'm just going to hand it over to Queen, even though I know I did not complete my closing remarks, but I can just hand it over to Queen Dr. Nadu. See how many people? All right.
Are you sure you don't want to do that? You don't want to do the closing remarks?
But I mean, there's no recording. Where's the recording?
All right.
Let me just give it.
Recording in progress.
Okay. All right. Okay. With my closing remark, which is why is cybercrime still growing, and how are the criminals succeeding? Right. So I was trying to talk about insider threat or the reason why cyber crime growth. You talk about the an increase in digital reliance, that more people and businesses they operate online. When they operate online, they create more targets. And as I stated from the beginning, that a lot of people, they're being lazy now to go to the market, right? So what they want to do is they want to buy everything online. When you buy things online, what do? You share your credit card. And when you share a credit card, some of those cyber criminals, they steal it. And they steal it just to go and buy. But I just want to thank some of the banks, because if you notice that I don't buy things online that much, and then you find out that somebody have stolen my credit card and they purchase something for $1,000, you know that I don't buy things for $1,000, right? So I just want to thank some of these banks that they know what is going on, and they will notify you immediately. Then we talk about lack of cyber security awareness. Many individuals and companies, they fail to implement strong security practice. Oh yes, they do. Some of them, they don't really care that much about security, but the only time they care is when someone or some of those cyber criminals have really blackmailed them, stole their identity, and also money-wise. Then you guys notice about what happened within our company, insider threat, right? Insider threat. Insider threat, like someone that really knows about this company, about any of the companies, and they try to deal with our money. So the employees with the access to sensitive data, sometimes they will leak the information or misuse information. Then another one, we talk about the slow law enforcement response. Cyber criminals, they operate across the borders by making precautions difficult, right? So how are they succeeding? They succeed by phishing attacks, right? They will trick user like you and I into clicking into malicious link or revealing information. Then another thing is like exploiting weak password. You have brute force attack that they will crack those password easily. Then another thing we talk about, like a ransomware extortion, looking for system and demanding. They have done that. They demand for payment, for access restoration. Then you have zero exploit, that it will now attack those software vulnerabilities. I keep talking about the vulnerabilities, which means weaknesses, before the developers will fix them. So cybercrime will continue to grow because of what? The technological advancement, which will increase what? The connectivities and the security gaps. To combat with this threat, individuals and organizations misuse adopt, but to proactively cyber security measures by including what? Strong security password. I have been telling you guys, especially when we migrated to from old founder to the ecosystem, we need strong what? Password, regular software updates. I have been telling you guys that, especially those who are utilizing cell phones, make sure the manufacturers always send an update, right? Please. I do understand like 90% of our affiliates are utilizing cell phone. They don't have computers. They don't have laptops. So when an update arises from your cell phone, please update your cell phone. I beg you. I begging you. So cybercrime is becoming harder to stop. As a new technologies will emerge, the impact of widespread and overwhelming financially. So it is important to act now, slow its progress. Now, through the increase of awareness, it improves the law, which will target the cybercrime, and by utilizing what biometrics, which greatly enhance what the security, right? The effect of cybercrime that will be mitigated as it explore before. Cyber criminals will only continue to find motivations in cyber crimes when they are faced with what such low risk. Now, governments, as we all know, there are a lot of government jobs, right? Government employees. So governments' lack of fundings and effort to take cyber crimes seriously enough is only going to allow the cyber crimes now, right, to continue growing if the government are not allocating money for this. Now, the potential shocking of the financial gain available will also only serve to motivate them even more. The fact that some statistics are a little out of date, sometimes it will highlight what the limitation of accuracy, right? But still serve the purpose in depicting the growth of cybercrime. Biometrics technology is still developing, as we all know. And at the moment, it has certain limitation in regards to how accurately it can work or whether it's really efficient way. I will say it is very important for us to continue to attend, I would say, attend deep dive, dream team, by you guys attending. There are a lot of people, or some of, I'm not going to say everybody's a leader, right? When you have a topic and you want to come and present, do it because maybe with that topic is going to make a lot of us to understand what is happening in the world. What can we do? What are the precautions, right? I want to really thank each and everyone listening to this presentation. And I want to thank Queen Lillian, Queen Jacqueline Warner, and Queen Pastor Antoinette, as well as Queen Nancy. I want to thank you all for your support. King Carlton, thank you for your love and support. Queen Dr. Nado, Queen Janet, thank you all. And King Harold, I appreciate you. Did anyone tell you guys today when you woke up in the morning that they love you? If they didn't, I just want to, as Queen Loretta would say, I love you all with all my heart, mind, and soul. And again, Queen Nancy, I will forgive. Queen Roseanne, I will try to forgive those who have hurt me. Thank you. All right. Oh, King Dr. Derek, you could you please stop the recording? But I want to thank you. If you have something to say, King Dr. Derek, before we can hand it over to Queen Dr. Nadu and King Herod. Do you have anything to say, please? All right. Yes, Queen Nadine, proceed, please.
Queen Dr. Benny,
Yes,
if
please.
no one else love you, know that I love you. I love you all. I love your presentations. I love everything about this group. And I want to tell you that God has been moving here. No matter what, I'm very quiet, but I listen most of the time. I'm doing something not 100%, but I'm hearing, and this is my comfort zone. So you are doing a great job. You all have been doing a great job, and I do so appreciate it. Lord continue to be with you all, us all. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Queen Nadine. I appreciate your support and your acknowledgement. Thank you. This is awesome. Isn't it, King Carlton? Yes, yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. Cybercrime. we have to be vigilant. Things are happening out there. The hackers are out there doing terrible things, taking people's money, enjoying themselves. We have to be vigilant. When people try to trick us, let us, by you guys listening to what I just presented today, this evening, we should please take precautions. Isn't it, Queen JW? Thank you so much. All right. King Dr. Derek, I hope you have given the co-host to Queen Dr. Nadu and King Harold in order for them to proceed with the after party. Let's see. Us. All right.
Yes. Peace,
Queen Dr.
blessings,
Nadu,
enough love.
are you ready?
Yeah.
Could you please
All right.
proceed with
Peace, blessings, enough love. Thank you very much. Really appreciate, First Lady Queen Dr. Benny. Hey, wonderful. All right. That was an awesome webinar, really awesome, very awesome webinar. And I thank you all very much. Thank you very much for rejoining. Don't know what happened, didn't touch anything, but that is just how it is with Zoom. Um, I just look up and saw it blank. So anyway, glad that you all came back. And those of you that is on the YouTube, still far too, join back on the YouTube. So thank you all very much. Really appreciate. But come tomorrow, you have
You're very
humanity.
low, Dr. Derek.
Oh, humanity at 8 p.m. And Thursday morning, we have Oh Passion, Singapore and Malaysia at 8 a.m. And come Thursday afternoon, it's back again here with Deep Dive, Globally Changing Life. And every weekday at 1 p.m., it is the twin Yvonnes, Queen Dr. Yvonne and Queen Yvonne Finn. And on Sunday, we do it all over again with Dream Team at 12:45 p.m. Eastern. All of those time is Eastern Standard Time. Thank you very much for making it once again Deep Dive, and we do thank you all for joining us on this wonderful webinar. We'll be closing the curtain down on the YouTube, and then we'll be here with a little after party with our own international DJ, Queen Dr. Nadu and King Bishop Harold. So bye for now on those that are on the YouTube. Really appreciate, really do appreciate. Take best care.